The lights of the city blur through a rainy windshield, and the world feels loud, even inside your car. Somewhere between the job you carry and the home you love, you wonder how couples stay steady when life doesn't. Tonight, we're stepping straight into the science and practice of emotional resilience in relationships, and why it's not a mystery or a gift. It's a skill you can build, and a rhythm you can learn. Imagine your kitchen at 7 a.m., the coffee maker ticking like a small metronome, the house waking in ripples. You and your partner move around each other like a dance you learned by heart. Some days the choreography flows. Other days you bump elbows and breathe through a sigh. You're with whispered hearts, English, and this is your quiet corner to understand love with both warmth and clarity. Resilience is not a personality label that some people magically own. It's a process your nervous system practices the way muscles practice movement. Research shows that small daily choices tune the brain toward steadiness and repair. Therapists report that couples who treat resilience as a shared practice rather than a test of character recover faster when stress hits. Here's a surprising truth that can change the tone of a whole week. Stress isn't the enemy of love. It's the training ground where connection gets stronger or frays. Quick check-in for you. When pressure rises, do you reach for your partner or pull away to protect yourself? But there's a hidden lever we often overlook. Your body keeps score before your words ever arrive, and your partner's body reads that score in milliseconds. The heartbeat that slows when you exhale, the shoulders that drop a fraction, the voice that softens by just one note. This is the brain's way of asking, "Am I safe with you right now?" Under the hood, your nervous system loves patterns. It settles when it recognizes calm cues, like steady breath and open posture. Co-regulation is the everyday miracle couples practice without knowing the term. Your hand on a forearm during a hard conversation, your eyes meeting for a few seconds longer, your voice carrying that rounded tone that says, "I'm here." If you picture a warm July evening on a front porch, cicadas humming, you can feel the system we're describing. Here's a curiosity to hold for a moment. One tiny shift in phrasing changes the body's response more than you'd expect. "Why did you do that?" Spikes defensiveness fast. "Can you help me understand what happened?" Lowers threat and opens the door. Try swapping the words just once this week. Which version would land better if you heard it tonight? Let's go inside the stress cycle you share. When life hits hard, your bodies move through alarm, mobilization, and then recovery. Couples who do well in recovery don't wait for calm to arrive on its own. They bring calm with deliberate acts, a longer exhale than inhale for 60 seconds, naming the feeling out loud to reduce the sting, choosing a short break so the argument doesn't overheat, and then actually returning on time. Picture a late winter night, the heat kicking on with a metallic click, the dining table covered with insurance forms, and a half-eaten bowl of soup. Your shoulders are tight, your partner's face is pinched at the eyes. You put your hand flat on the table, palm open, so it looks less like a fist. "I want to understand, and I want to be kind," you say. The air shifts a little. That's physiology meeting intention. Here's a small retention anchor that pays out big dividends. Before you start the problem talk, do a 30-second body check. Drop your shoulders, breathe out, lower your voice speed by just 10%. Now ask the question that matters. Have you noticed how tone changes everything even when the words stay the same? But there's something even quieter holding love together. The tiny rituals that set your nervous systems to the same station. A morning 3-sentence check-in while the toast pops. A 2-minute hug at the door, long enough for the shoulders to unclench. A short walk after dinner, past the same maple trees, the same porch lights, the same dog that always barks from behind a fence. Your bodies begin to predict safety, because you keep offering it. Spring brings a soft rain smell on the sidewalk, and pairs it with your end-of-day stroll. Summer brings the glow of a late sunset, and pairs it with a cool glass of water you hand each other before the talk. The brain loves these couplings. It learns that connection is not random. It arrives with a time, place, and feel. If you're listening and your chest is tight from the day, let this be a breath you can borrow. Whispered hearts. English is here as a steady light, not a spotlight. You are not behind. You are in practice, the same way everyone else is in practice. When the world scrapes your edges, this space is for settling your system and remembering softness. Try something simple that couples swear by after a month. At the first sign of tension, call a 60-second reset together. Hands on a warm mug, eyes on the window, or a photo on the fridge. Breathe out slow and speak only in observations, not judgments. Would a 1-minute reset change how tonight feels? Conflict will still find you, because life will always be alive. What matters is the shape of repair. Safety first, which can be as simple as lowering your volume and sitting at an angle rather than head-on. Empathy next, which sounds like, I can see how that hurt. Then, a specific act that restores the bridge. Offer a do-over for the sentence that landed like a stone. Offer to handle the call you avoided. Offer to check back in after dinner. In a quiet room with the fan turning, imagine saying, I interrupted you 3 times. I'm sorry. I want to hear you all the way through. Your partner's shoulders ease. You listen without planning your reply. When it's your turn, you keep your story short and anchored in feelings rather than accusations. Then you ask, what would help us avoid this next time? You both write 1 line on a sticky note and put it where it matters. Here's a check you can use after every hard moment. Did either of us feel physically unsafe, dismissed, or trapped? If the answer is yes, you pause the content and address safety first. If the answer is no, you proceed to meaning and solutions. What would it look like to try this simple check the next time voices rise? But there's a story you both tell that shapes everything. Couples either build a we identity that carries rough patches, or they tell a running tally of wins and losses. The we identity isn't magic. It's a choice to talk like you're on the same trail, even when you're winded. We're learning to plan money better. We hit a bump around chores and we're adjusting our map. The pronouns do work that your nervous systems can feel. Think of 2 commutes on the same morning. One person sits in traffic under a low grey sky, the radio murmuring news. The other sits on a train that squeals into a station, coffee cooling in a paper cup. Both people decide to text. We've got a full day. Want takeout tonight so we can rest? That we turns dozens of micro-choices into one shared pattern. Try this narrative shift tonight. Tell a tiny story of your week using we, even for your solo tasks. We handled another Tuesday. We kept our patients at the pharmacy line. We remembered to laugh about the squeaky pantry door. What story are you both telling without noticing, and what story would you like to tell on purpose? But the body needs training as much as the mind. Emotional intelligence in love isn't all talk and insight. It's breath habits, sleep that actually restores, small movement that clears stress chemicals, and food that doesn't set you up for a crash at 4 p.m. When couples align on these basics, they reduce the number of fights that are really about hunger, exhaustion, or a buzzing nervous system. You don't have to overhaul your life tomorrow. Choose one thing: a 10-minute walk under autumn leaves before dinner, a glass of water before any big conversation, phones on the counter during the first 20 minutes home, so your eyes can tell the truth your words promise. Have you already noticed how much easier it is to be kind when your body isn't begging for a break? Here's a challenge that turns into a secret advantage. Pick a phrase you'll use on hard days to remind each other you're on the same team, slow and kind, or same side of the table. Say it before the talk, not after the argument. Which phrase feels like a home base you could share? But joy is not a luxury item you add at the end. It's fuel for the whole system. The neuroscience of love points to how shared novelty, play, and appreciation refresh the bond like cool air through an open window. You don't need a new city to do it. You need a new micro-yes, like dancing to one song while the pasta boils or trying a new trail on Sunday afternoon. Think about how joy lives in senses: the snap of a cold apple on a bright winter morning, the warm boards of a sunlit deck on a July afternoon, the way your partner laughs when you do a terrible impression of the dog. Savoring is a skill. When you say, "I love how you handled that call," your brain and your partner's brain record the bright spot and make it easier to find next time. Here's a practical joy habit that multiplies fast. End the day with one specific appreciation each. No repeats all week. Keep it small. You folded the blanket before bed, and it felt like care. You waited for me in the driveway, and I felt partnered. Tonight, what appreciation can you give in one clean sentence? But resilience isn't only how you handle storms. It's how you prepare when the sky is clear. That means agreements you make when you're calm. A plan for money talks that says you'll look at numbers for 15 minutes and then take a break. A plan for family stress that sets boundaries and shares the load. A plan for intimacy that mixes tenderness with curiosity and actual time on the calendar. Think of a Sunday afternoon where the house is quiet, except for a washer humming. You sit together with a notebook and pick one small area to tune. 15 minutes, that's all. You name success in terms of behavior, not perfection. We'll do our evening walk 3 nights this week. We'll practice the 60-second reset twice. When Friday arrives, you check in without shame. You adjust and keep practicing. Here's a grounding move when the week goes off script. Touch something solid like the counter edge. Feel your feet in your shoes. Turn toward your partner and say, "I want to do this better. Can we try the reset?" Then follow through on whatever your plan promised. Where could a grounding move interrupt your next spiral? But sometimes the kindest act is knowing when to call in help. Resilience includes the wisdom to expand your support map. You might ask a trusted couple how they handle bedtime chaos with kids. You might book a session with a counselor before the crisis, the way you change oil before a long drive. You might tell a friend, "We're practicing steadiness. Can we borrow your eyes on our plan?" Your home will still hold late-night sighs and early morning worries. It will also hold better conversations, shorter conflicts, and a sense that the two of you know how to return to each other. The science supports this pattern, and everyday stories confirm it. Couples who practice repair, ritual, and regulation don't avoid the storm. They keep a hand on the wheel and steer together. Before we close, take one soft breath and picture a path through a quiet park after rain. The leaves shine. The air smells new. You're walking next to someone who is also learning, and you both have the right to be works in progress. That's not failure. That's the way love stays alive. Here's your simple plan for the week. Choose one micro-ritual, one repair phrase, and one body practice. Put them where you'll see them and try them twice each. If it helps, write the words on a sticky note by the coffee pot. Which 3 tiny moves will you carry out of this video? And for those moments when you need reassurance more than strategies, remember this place exists. Whispered Hearts. English is a community that treats softness like strength and practice like progress. You're not auditioning for perfect. You're learning the lines of your own steadiness and teaching them to each other. This is where we end for tonight, but it's not the end of your skill building. You have more tools than you did 20 minutes ago, and you can start small. What's one resilience skill you'll try this week? If this landed for you, hold on to the phrase that began our time together and let it echo as you turn out the light. Emotional resilience in relationships is a skill you can strengthen day by day, together.